Hi, my name is Blue Tulusma. Welcome back to another installment of Humanized with Blue Tulusma. And today, my guest is my good Judy, makeup artist to the stores, momager to who I think is the next Zendaya. Your daughter's going to be a star. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know.
We all know that at this part.
Yep.
And basically just an amazing human being, Monique Nevels. Woohoo!
Yay.
And this time, guys, for the first time ever at Humanized, we have a studio audience. Yay! This is amazing. Okay, wait a minute for a quick second. Can you put the camera on me so I can see there we go. I just need to make sure that I don't look as tipsy as I feel. For full disclosure, if y'all like, hey, Blue, why do you keep on having guests with the same shirt? It's because it's the same day. It's called production, guys. Now, Monique, I am happy to have you on the show because the original intention of the episodes that we're doing in February is that they were all going to be around love and, it's love month.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have a couple because last year I had a couple. And I was going to have you and Richard. For those of you who don't know, Richard Nevels from Insecure is Monique's husband. He's very handsome. He looks like Tupac with Said. And I was going to have you guys as a couple talking about that. And then I stopped and thought to myself, I know Monique is an individual, but I know that so many people in the industry think of her as Richard's wife. And I love my friend, and she can stand on her own because you are spicy as fuck. And I wanted you to have a moment to talk by yourself.
Yeah.
And I think there's something so powerful because a lot of times when you think about Valentine's month, you think about love, you think about couples, you think about a duo.
Right.
So the first question that I want to ask, we're going to jump right in.
Okay.
I'm jumping right in.
Go.
How long have you been married, Flex, real quick, for the kids?
16 years.
16 years, guys. That's longer than Instagram and Facebook and all them things.
Yeah.
16 years of marriage.
Yes.
And you still like him.
Very much.
Can we clap for that? She still likes her husband.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Today I do.
Today, right.
Today I do, yeah.
I think a lot of times, and I think I told you this when we were at dinner. Was it last night? We were just at dinner last night?
Last night, yeah.
Oh, God. Yeah, my life is fun.
Last month.
At dinner last night, I was talking about how when I'm in relationships, no matter how heartbroken I am, I'm always relieved to some degree because I missed me. Mm-hmm. I always give myself up into a relationship and I don't come back to myself until I'm out of a relationship. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's like to be in a relationship and still remain myself. So my question to you, we're starting off light.
Okay.
How do you, that was me being sarcastic.
Yeah,
how do you maintain your autonomy in a long-term relationship? How do you still remain Monique and not just Monique and Richie?
I don't know if I do, if that makes sense. Because I've been a wife since I was 19, a mom since I was 20. And so in that, I have to navigate what makes Monique happy. And I go in and out of, does this make me happy or does this make the family happy? So I have a hard time sometimes finding my autonomy for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And have there been any moments where you felt like, and share as much as you feel comfortable sharing, we feel like you lost yourself completely?
Absolutely.
And how did you peep that, oh God, I've completely become a mom and a wife and I've lost me?
Because I'm not happy.
Aww.
Like nothing would make me happy. When usually they always make me happy. But sometimes I'd be like, well, nothing is making me happy. Why? Okay, now I need to sit with myself and find what's really going on. And in that, I find that, okay, I'm doing everything for everyone else. Now I need to kind of take some time for me. And that's what this year is all about for me, is really like finding myself and what makes me happy.
It's your Jordan year.
Yeah, it's my Jordan year. So yeah, that's what I'm going to find myself.
It's so interesting because whenever I ask, I'm like, Monique, how did we meet? Because I really do, a part of me was so confused. I was like, I love Monique. I have no idea how I know her. I've been trying. I was like, Monique, how did we meet? And you were like, girl, I met you at VIP at Cardi B's birthday party.
Yeah, I was twerking on my husband. Yep.
First of all, can we just talk about what a Hollywood way that is to meet somebody? I don't know what's worse, the fact that that's how we met or the fact that I didn't remember that's how we met.
I think both.
Oh, nice.
It's
Thank
both.
you, friend.
Yeah.
You know what it was? Because I was at, here's the thing about Cardi's party, right? I don't care who you are in Los Angeles. Cardi's party is almost as hard to get into as Issa's yacht parties. Monique has been to both. Flex, friend. Flex for the camera.
Just
Yes.
this last year. Just one.
Hair flip. And so when I got invited to Cardi's party, it was because her best friend was my co-host, Jason Lee. So it was like, okay, I'm Jason's friend. We get there, and we got there early because Damage, my co-host, was like, we got to get there early because everybody's VIP.
Right.
The gag is there's no VIP section at Cardi's party.
No.
Because everybody's VIP.
Right.
So people who are never...
there was a little roped off but it wasn't. It
for
was
like the super VIP. It was like weird, like the Avengers or some shit, right?
Yeah.
So we get there early, and the guy behind us waiting in line was the one who like helped her sign her first deal or some shit. He's like, "Why am I in line? I should be." I was like, "Sir, everybody's VIP." We get in there, and we're roped off in this extra little bougie section. OT Genesis. It was a dance hall party. Was dancing to every song for 4 hours. I don't know what kind of vitamins that man is on, but who can dance
crip
the
walking
dance
to everything? Crip walking to everything
for 4 hours straight.
Yeah.
And then the whole cast of Love and Hip Hop is just kind of like wrapped around me. I'm like, I'm not on VH1. I would like to go to the bathroom. Please let me go.
Yeah.
Monique from Love and Hip Hop is sitting on my lap because there was only one chair and I had it. She's like, well, if you have the only chair, I'm gonna use your lap as a chair. So at this point, I'm feeling overwhelmed. No shade, no tea. I'm watching LMA very awkwardly try to do a butterfly that looked more like a stunted giraffe. It was not great. I'm happy she's not a dancer. Tiana Taylor was making me feel like I should never eat carbs again.
Right.
Like the whole scenario was so overstimulating. And I was like, this is so fun, but it's also very industry. And I was like, I wish I could just be at home in my pajamas right now. Just like, but also too, I had eaten some shrooms. Okay,
Right.
I'm gonna keep it real. I had some shrooms earlier that day, guys, and I underestimated how strong they were. So I was also seeing colors and stuff. It was a wild night. So in the midst of all this, dance hall music, all these random celebrities, X, Y, and Z, I look over behind me, and there is Monique just busting it on her husband. And I was like, that's Richie. That's clearly his wife.
hopefully.
Right. Hopefully, relationship goals. Because in the middle of all this industry bullshit, you guys were just two people in a bubble having a good time.
That's us everywhere. Like no matter where we go, we're always gonna have a good
teach me
time.
your ways. How does one get a fine man in LA who actually is gonna stay faithful?
Well,
to
we
you?
didn't meet in LA, I guess.
Oh shit, I'm fucked. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So, but
did
he's
you
born
meet?
and raised in LA, but we didn't meet in LA. We met in the Navy. So
Also, discipline was kind of part of the structure already.
yeah, but not for men. And then discipline like that in the Navy. Men do not live by that.
You heard
in
it
the
here
Navy.
first, guys. Men in the Navy are hoes, according to Monique.
Hoes.
No,
Hoes.
like actual.
Be careful, ladies.
Really?
No, for real.
So how did you train him out of his hold'em?
Train him?
These are the hard hitting questions, okay?
I guess my pussy. I don't know.
Oh
what to
shit!
say.
Okay, this episode has already gone off the rails. So
No, I think because we met like so like very fresh in the military to where we both
no, girl, you
like
met
that
the pussy.
hold'em.
I heard the first answer. The show's called Humanized. You ain't got a lot of kicking on the show. Okay, so what I heard is Monique said she had that wet, and that's how you got him. And at this point, I'm gonna talk about something that I had not initially planned on talking about. I'm still thinking about how she said my pussy. Is that your answer when you get nervous? By the way,
Probably just like I'm a stripper. Like that's like my
yes.
answer to everything.
If anybody hangs out with Monique, be very, very careful. This is how I know that me and you. I was talking to Sarita in the previous episode about how I knew our friendship was faded. I feel like our friendship was also faded because there are several inappropriate jokes I've been making my whole life that were waiting for Monique to make the punchline. My entire life I've been saying, when I would go to a cashier and have a bunch of ones, I'm like, I'm sorry, I've been hanging out with my stripper friends. Last night, me and Monique go to dinner at this bougie place. She goes to valet, pulls out a bunch of ones and says, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a stripper. And I was like, you're my stripper friends. I knew you before I knew you.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It was meant to be.
But like, how do you... And I'm gonna pick my words very carefully because we're having fun. I'm also very tipsy, but like last night we had a very honest conversation.
Yeah,
and we talked about this before, so I have consent. Because consent is sexy, isn't that right, Sarita? Sarita's in the audience, guys. She's back. Ow.
Yeah.
Consent is sexy, and last night we had a very, very honest and beautiful conversation about a topic that a lot of blogs and sites make a lot of money about, which is interracial relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And you were very honest when you said, a part of me, because Richard is so successful, Insecure is such a popular show, beloved by all of Black Twitter. And you were like, a part of me wonders if he'd be even further in his career if he had a Black wife.
Yes.
And as your friend, I almost wanted to cry.
Yeah.
Because to me, you're such a good wife and like you're such a good person.
Thank you.
But then I did have a moment. This is where me being a pundit comes in of when I said, Monique, that's a really valid critique because a lot of the actors in this town, they see having a non-Black wife as a status symbol. Like, well, I made it. I got to find me somebody who's like a Kardashian, right?
Right.
And my stance on interracial relationships has always been, are you running towards love or away from the Black community? If you're running towards love and you just happen to fall in love with somebody who's not Black, I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
But if you just think that a non-black person is a status symbol, or you hate your blackness, or you've exotified proximity to whiteness, then I think that you're a bit of a coon, right? And with you and Richard, he fell in love with a dope person who's one of my closest friends, and it had nothing to do with race.
Right.
But how do you navigate understanding that Black women who feel a way about a sexy, successful Black man having a non-Black wife, their pain is valid, but your relationship is also valid? How do you navigate respecting them, but also like speaking your truth? I know it's a heavy question. My bad,
hard.
friend.
I don't know. I feel like he gets it the most on Twitter. I'm not on Twitter at all. Right.
Is that why you're not on Twitter? Because you don't want to hear it?
I don't like to, I'm not like a huge talker. So the tweeting for me, and sometimes when I first started it, I was tweeting and no one was saying anything back. So I felt alone. And I was like, this isn't for me. I don't have one. No, it's fine. But I feel like that's where he gets it the most, but he doesn't post about me. People don't know me there. Whereas on like Instagram, where most people are, or like even in the industry, I feel like once people get around me, they're like, every time Richard shows up, they're like, where's Mo? He's like, I'm also an individual. They're like, right, but where's Mo? Like we want to have fun with Mo.
Because Richard's actually my friend. I met Richard first, and then I met Monique, and I haven't seen Richard since. Richard, I'm so sorry. I still love you, friend heart. But no, you're very lovable. But like, do you ever have moments where you meet somebody face to face who has the cojones to tell you that they have a problem with it?
No one has ever told me like directly. It's in their body movement or their gesture, and I feel like they might be like closed off to me too. And then once they kind of see me and who I am and I'm around, you can kind of see them lightening up around me.
Oh, so they start off a little bit tense, and then they're like, "Okay, cool, let me chill the fuck out."
Yeah.
Do you ever get offended or hurt by it?
No, I think I hurt more for him.
Explain.
Because I feel like he's extremely talented.
He is.
And I go back and forth with, if maybe it was different for him, he would be further along.
But what did I tell you last night? I said, Monique, number one, that's sweet that you even acknowledged the privilege of and the optics of and all that other stuff.
Right.
But I don't think you're the reason he's not further along. I think the Black men who have disdain for Black women, who intentionally pick non-Black partners, it's their fault.
Right.
If those men didn't exist, then Richard could fall in love with whoever he wanted without it having any slight.
Yeah, that's what you said to me yesterday. I was like, oh, it's that aha moment for me.
It's not your fault, it's them.
Yeah.
Like you're suffering for the optics of somebody else's poor choices, right?
Right.
Like somebody else who has self-loathing and hates their community and X, Y, and Z. They did that and you're being mistaken for that, but you didn't create that.
Right.
How did that feel hearing that? Because I feel like, you know, Black women a lot of times are not showing grace to people who are in interracial relationships. Why I wanted to have this conversation with you on camera, because I'm so extra pro-Black. I always talk about being Cuban, but still very Black.
Yeah.
And folks are always thinking that Black women are going to see an interracial couple and be like, oh, my booty cheeks are going to clench. My booty cheeks are only going to clench if you're a coon. If you're a good person who fell in love with another good person, I'm not going to clench. Do you ever have moments where you confront the elephant in the room? Have you ever said something like, sis, are you big mad? Or do you just like act polite?
I just be polite, kill him with kindness. Myself, I just am really just myself.
Oh, you're nicer than me, girl.
Yeah.
I'd be like, bitch, you got a problem? Like, you're much nicer than me. God knew not to make me cute and non-Black, because I would get canceled all the time. Now, the thing that I love about you is that we've been friends for, when was Cardi's birthday? So I feel like
2 years ago.
So every time Cardi has a birthday, it's our friendiversary?
Yeah, it's our friendiversary. It's October is her birthday, right?
Yeah, October 11th is her birthday.
Yeah, so.
It's been 2 years already?
It was 2021, because I didn't go to the last one because it was like a burlesque.
It was.
I didn't go to that one.
I didn't go to that one either.
Yeah.
It probably wasn't that fun because we weren't there. One of the things that we bonded over is that, like, our names are, I think the name has evolved. We are the pH balanced goons. Serena, we've had the word goons to it, by the way, friend.
Yeah, goons.
We're the pH balanced goons. Yeah, the pH balanced goons.
Yeah.
Because pH balance means we're pure hearted, which means we are in the industry. We know a lot of people who are celebrated, i.e. celebrities. We don't give a fuck.
I just like people.
We just like them. Like, our friends just happen to be famous, but we don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we bonded about is the anxiety we have around that. When you love somebody who happens to have a Grammy or happens to be on the Oscar or whatever, or happens to be on a big show, everybody assumes you're there for a look.
Right.
And then you have this anxiety of almost like, how do I prove to her that I don't give a fuck what she does, I just like her?
Right.
I'm still grappling with that because you and I have talked about how one friend that I loved got Hollywood on me and I had to like kind of mourn the friendship. And you, I'm not going to share your business. You have some very major friends as well who you've had to navigate around. Where are you on that path of figuring out how to show someone you love them in spite of their success, not because of it?
I don't know. I think when we were talking last night, you brought up what we were talking about, and it made me sad because I don't know how to be or come to anyone other than who I am. So it's like it hurt my feelings, the fact that people don't think I am myself, but I also get it because this industry is full of people who just do things for optics, and I'm not one of those people, right? Like I don't care.
To give context to the audience, the conversation that I had with Mo was about someone who she was no longer as close to as she would have liked to have been because people in that camp saw her as a threat. And Mo was like confused because she's like, I'm just chilling, minding my business, trying to hang out with my homegirl.
Right.
How am I a threat?
Right.
And I pushed back and said, no, Monique, you are a threat.
Yeah.
Because in any industry, not just Hollywood, any industry where there's high stakes, high regard, lots of money at stake, there are going to be people who are opportunists. And those opportunists are operating from a place of fear and manipulation.
Right.
Love and fear cannot occupy the same space. So if you're somebody who loves them, that means if you see something, some funny shit, if you see them being manipulated, you're going to be the naive friend who's like, girl, what's that over there?
Right.
And you simply loving them and being honest could completely destroy a house of cards that a manipulator has built around them. So when you are a pure friend, the manipulators will take you out first.
Yeah, and you told me yesterday that like my Mars was in Gemini and then my whatever else is in Aries. So I think something and then I will say
That's
it.
where the goon comes from, guys. It's all the Aries and Gemini in her chart. She's a goon.
So I feel like I would maybe say something, and I understand it now that you kind of put it into context for me. It still hurts because I just like having fun and being around people.
Because you were one. Like I always say this: abundance will only be offensive to scarcity. So if you are an abundant friend, someone who's coming from a scarcity mindset who sees you as a threat is accurate. And it took me years to realize that all those people who I was like, I'm a nice person, why are you worried about me? They were accurate. I was being naive and not realizing that I actually was a threat to what they were doing. Now, how do you navigate friendships now? Because like Sarita, who we had previously, you have all the people in your life who have all this attention, and you're probably someone who's more behind the scenes. Do you ever have moments where you are like, damn, maybe I should go to like Target and find some friends in aisle 6? Like, because it's LA. Everybody kind of is in the industry. It's kind of hard.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't know. No, I don't. I don't feel like that because that's not really.
It's not you.
It's not me.
They also probably would be. I was gonna say something mean. I'm gonna shut the hell up because it's the alcohol. We're gonna. When I tell you, if y'all understood just how much smooth Jamaican rum is in my body right now.
I know. I'm trying to get where you at. Let me.
Take a sip. We're gonna take a small sip break, guys. We should call it the slurp breaks. We're gonna take a small slurp break. Hold on.
Pause.
You nasty. I love you for that. You nasty bitch. I love it. Oh snap! I just realized they had a new announcement that Facebook is gonna start demonetizing people who swear. There goes the show, guys. So one of the things that I have on this list to talk about, because it was a long list of things that I want to talk about.
Really?
And we only have an hour, so we gotta do like rapid fire. Like,
okay.
Bam.
I gotta think faster.
No, you don't have to think fast at all because the rum got me slow. This topic, again, I love things that are provocative but brave.
Okay.
This topic is one of the places where you squared up at the table, like you squared up like you wanted to fight somebody. Not me, because you love me. We were talking about
what'd I say?
Polyamory versus monogamy.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I love how messy this show has become.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing, guys. For full disclosure, I tried to be poly for about a decade, but I was only a third. I was a unicorn. I didn't want to share my partner, but I'd be like a third for somebody else. And what I learned was every time I tried to have a threesome, they would break up and me and the other person would end up dating.
Right.
So that's why I would never have a threesome in a relationship.
Right.
And I was talking about how when you have a lot of poly friends, they mimic monogamous people when they're being judgmental. Monogamous people say being anything but monogamous is unnatural and X, Y, and Z, and they act superior.
Right.
Then you go to the poly community thinking they'll be more open-minded, and they say the exact same thing.
Right.
And what we were talking about was what is natural is subjective and personal to each person. Saying to the entire world that your way of doing things is the only thing that's natural, you all sound like assholes.
Right.
Everything is natural to different people, right?
Right.
And so as someone who's tried to be poly and who sees the complete validity of that, I know there are folks who I'm like, no, you are definitely supposed to be poly. This is a high integrity way of you living. And then there are other folks who are monogamous but got cheated on, so now they're pretending to like pussy. Let's call a thing. Welcome to the show. So how would you feel now that you've been married for 16 years? How would you feel if he said, hey, babe, it's been a while. Girl, let me finish. You see how she's squaring up right now? How would you feel if he was like, baby, I love you. I found the perfect third. Let's spice it up and do something on vacation, maybe.
I'd fight her. Ain't no way.
You fight who?
Whoever he's trying.
The poor lady on the lobby?
It would be, listen, for me, I know myself enough to know that I'm very territorial and I could never share my dick. I can't do it. If I were to even sit there and watch another woman kiss my man in front of me, I'd be grabbing her by her hair and trying to fight her.
Well, the devil's advocate says, well, wouldn't you want to be turned on by another woman being pleasured by your man?
No. I like being pleasured. Why would I want someone? No.
Where'd you want to see? The audience is getting upset. Are you guys okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
Wait a minute. I can feel the booty clenching from the studio audience.
He said no.
Is this what Andy Cohen feels like? Oh my God.
No.
I'm being the devil's advocate, but the joke is the devil always need an advocate.
Right.
So here's the thing, right? The people who do this, another thing, I'm pansexual.
Right.
In the queer community, especially considering most of my friends are men and half are straight, half are same gender loving. I have a lot of same gender loving male friends who say it's unnatural for you to think that my dick only should have a home one place and we whatever.
Right.
For them, they think that love and sex can be completely separated.
Right.
A part of me wonders, though, is there something, how do I say it? Is it selfish, is their question, to tell your partner that I'm supposed to pretend to be everything that you want because it's an 80-20 rule? Do you think it's selfish to not give your partner the opportunity to find joy elsewhere while still coming home to you?
Well, after 16 years, I think my partner should understand where I'm at.
Explain.
Does that make sense?
No, elaborate.
Like I feel like to have that conversation, he knows how I would feel. Mm-hmm. So that conversation he knows would be like, it's not going to happen.
You guys, by the way, me and Monique actually agree on this. I'm just being devil's advocate. But the level of steam that I feel on the stage, I'm not safe.
My cheeks are probably getting red. Huh?
Your face just turned so pink.
Yeah.
And you know the thing too is that like some of us find being territorial sexy. I have several friends who are like when they're having sex and he's like, "Whose is it?" They're like, "It's yours, daddy." Oh my God! Like some people like that shit, right? And I think for me, the lesson that I've learned is not to kink shame.
Yeah.
For some people, monogamy is their kink. Having to re-examine and relearn and renegotiate with the same person over and over again is their kink. Mm-hmm. And for other people, it's, having somebody...
It's boring.
Yeah. And I would say this too, because I've been oversharing all month, so I stop now. As someone who's been to sex parties and who's in the kink community for a while, some people were doing it in a very empowered way. Like I do think that the play parties I went to back in the day were sexually healing because I had an eating disorder. I remember I was 5'8", 150 pounds, and a doctor in Boston, Massachusetts, where I'm from, told me I was obese. And they put me on a strict diet, and they dieted me into a 100-pound weight gain. Because when you diet that extremely, your metabolism is so fucked up, you gain weight, right? And so I remember being a regular-sized, perfectly healthy person, and due to medical racism and all types of stuff, feeling like I hated myself. Me now, I probably love myself now more than I did back then. But a part of it was because of when people are fucking you and making you feel good and making you feel beautiful, you're like, they're not on my body.
Right.
So there is some validity in sexual healing. And that's why the kink community was really kind of precious to me.
Yeah.
But when you lying in a bed and it's just all types of weird genitals in your face and not everybody's pheromones like yours, part of me like, this is nasty.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't want to do this no more.
Right.
Could you ever see a scenario where if your child, let's say you have a daughter and a son, right? Mm-hmm. If your child came up to you and said, hey, mom, hey, dad, I think I might be polyamorous. I want to be in a throuple. How would you respond to that?
Live your life, baby.
Really?
Yeah. So
you wouldn't mind them bringing her two boyfriends to the house?
No. If it works for you, it works for you, and that's great.
See, I wish more people thought like you.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of being empowered into your body, I want to have a conversation about a thing that happens to a lot of women, especially as they get past 30s and then 35 and then they get older. There's a lot of conversation around women feeling fulfilled and women feeling beautiful past a certain age. Angela Bassett was at the Golden Globes a couple of weeks ago.
Phenomenal.
She's, what, 50-something, 60, going
amazing.
on 12. Like, she's not a real person at this point. She's an avatar to me at this point, right? She's so stunning. I said earlier, it confuses me.
Right.
But a lot of women have been told that you have to get nipped and tucked and do all these things in order to be acceptable. You are someone who is dating a traditionally attractive man in what is considered the most shallow industry in the world, in the epicenter of where that industry lives. How does that feel about how you see yourself as a woman? Because I feel like part of Valentine's month, people think about love towards others. I want to talk about self-love for a second.
Yeah, I feel like for a while, I actually considered getting my body done to fit into the mold of what society views me as a wife, which is really fucked up, but that's the facts. And then I got to a point.
Pause for a second, because I literally felt your energy shift when you admitted that.
Yeah.
What space were you in when you were considering that?
A negative, not loving myself, hateful space, for sure.
Did you share that with him?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I always say, like, I would tell him, if I got my body done, it would be for me. It wouldn't be for you and be for anybody else. It'd be for me. But deep down inside, it would be for the optics, right? So
you just said a word, because you said that you would have said that it was for you and not for him, but deep down inside it'd be for the optics. I think part of the body positivity movement that we don't want to admit is that some of you are lying.
yeah,
Like, I believe
we lie to ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
like,
it starts
and people are gonna be shocked to hear a big girl say this, right? I like myself because I fought very hard to like myself.
Right.
I went to the trenches and I pulled myself out. I sometimes am in a room with other women of different shapes and sizes. I'm like, you're all fucking lying right now. Like, the energy is like they're being very performative, saying, "Oh, I love me. Anybody? I'm a badass bitch."
Right.
I'm calling cap on a lot of that, because you'll say that every bitch you know is beautiful, but if your boyfriend breaks up with you, the next girl he dates could be an 8 out of 10, and you're gonna pick her apart. Which means you know how to pick people apart. You just lying to your homegirls, right? And so I think part of the body positivity movement that makes me nervous is people are lying to feel better rather than admitting what's going to make them feel good. I'd rather you say, hey, I'm a big girl who is like, I might want to lose weight next year, but right now I'm going to love my current body as I phase into that. Instead of pretending you like yourself and then you show up like a year or two later, a size 6, and act like nothing happened.
Right.
Perfect example. And this is not to shade anybody. I don't want to get in trouble. Adele. We loved Adele, right? She was beautiful.
Right.
One of the things I loved about Adele was she never pontificated as if she thought she was perfect, because when she lost the weight, she didn't feel like a hypocrite.
Right.
There have been people like Monique who spent her entire career calling people skinny bitches. Skinny bitch, skinny bitch, skinny bitch. Not you, Monique, the actress Monique.
Yeah.
And then one day decided to work out, and now she wants to be a skinny bitch herself. When people call cap, a part of me kind of feels conflicted, because I'm like, no, some of these girls in the body positivity movement, they're not faking it till they're making it. They're self-righteously lying.
Right.
And then flipping the script and acting like we should all pretend they were big. If I ever lose weight, I'm going to tell y'all why I'm doing it. I'm not going to pretend. How do you reconcile loving yourself in the present tense, but not lying about how confident you are?
It's a lot of I feel like for me too, I had a lot of negative talk about me and my looks and my body from a very young age, right? So that dealing with that, and then obviously the industry, everything. And like I said, I was going, not now, because I'm a lot better now, and I'm just like, I give myself grace. Like, I know I want to lose weight. I just want to be healthy. Do I care about the number? Absolutely not. Do I want to look in the mirror and be like, I fucking love that. You look bomb. Yes, I do. And no matter what number or where it is that I feel that's what I want to be. But because of that, I've had to it goes in and out, because I'm constantly battling with that with myself. But I think that stems from like a childhood trauma that I then have to like weed out within myself.
That's so interesting hearing that coming from you, because Monique, anybody who's watching us on YouTube and seeing your face, you could be a Kardashian cousin. Like, you have what is considered like the look that is of the time. So people might have some cognitive dissonance looking at you and saying, how could you possibly, when you're considered what's it, right? Like, your aesthetic is what's considered popular. Is there a part of your brain that doesn't latch on. So you guys, I'm looking right into the camera. You guys, this is how body dysmorphia works. It doesn't matter how pretty you are. It doesn't matter how on trend you are. If you don't feel it, you don't feel it.
Yeah.
How did that, when I mentioned that, your face changed. What were you just thinking just now?
Well, I mean, it's because I think like when I was feeling good and doing all these things, there was like people in my DMs saying like, "Why is your husband with you? You're a fat bitch. Like, what's going on with that?"
Whoa,
no,
wait, what?
Yes,
Send me that information.
Yes. So
no, send me screenshots.
Okay.
Yo, I fight for my friends. I'm gonna tell you right now. I might be an emotional intelligence coach. I'm also a goon. Go ahead.
Posted him and people got at him, and I don't think he has. It was a man, and he does,
a man,
yes, and I don't think he has an Instagram.
I decided for 2023, I'm not gonna call men bitches, so I'm gonna refrain from saying what I was thinking. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're in February. You got this. You got it. You got it.
Monique, I love you.
No, so even when I was feeling good, I felt like there was something like that dragged me back down, and so then I had to fight back that childhood instinct to like negative talk to myself. I'm good now. I'm better now, a lot better, and I know that I just have to love myself choose to love myself every single day.
This just shows you that they always change the goalpost.
Right?
They'll tell you need to be a certain like color. Like perfect example, there's colorism, right? So you meet a girl who's light skinned. Oh, but she's light skinned, but her hair's nappy, so she's still not good enough. Or you meet a girl who's supposed to be thin. Oh, you're too thin. You look like a Jiminy Cricket in a bikini. You're not good enough. Then you meet a girl who's slim thick. Oh, well, your titties got stretch marks. You're not good enough. Like the goalpost constantly moves, which is why at a certain point, I kind of respect Lizzo that she stopped crying and started saying "fuck it."
Yeah,
I think at some point you gotta be like, do I like me or not?
Right.
And honestly, too, a lot of people who sometimes talk the biggest shit they hate themselves.
Right.
Now, for you, it's complicated because you're not just dealing with your own body positivity stuff. You're a mother to a girl,
a model.
You're raising a young Black girl in the industry. Do you ever feel any kind of responsibility or weight from that?
Huge.
Because everybody, and we all make the joke, I even made the joke earlier, that, oh, she's the next Zendaya, right? Like, she looks very much like her. She's an amazing actress.
Yeah.
And we saw how Zendaya's parents beautifully helped her navigate so that she understood her privilege and used it well, but also loved herself. How do you raise a mother, like a daughter in this age? If I got pregnant tomorrow, I would hope it was a boy. Because raising girls in 2023 sounds like the pits.
It's hard, but I will say that my daughter, because of what she does, she has a lot of confidence in herself. And she never talks about her looks or her appearance, where girls her age already are talking
her classmates
about.
know she's pretty, child.
Yeah.
They're hating right now.
Yeah, so, well, she's homeschooled, so... She,
I love this. She's like
her classmate.
I'm her classmate. Huh? Okay, that's a good cheat code.
No, but she does, and she holds herself to I don't know how to explain it. She's just amazing. I don't know how she does. I don't know what I did right. I don't know what I'm doing right. I just know that she is out there doing what she loves to do and found her passion at a very young age. And because of that, she stands in her power.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like so many people think I'm wise, but so many of my guests are so wise. And it makes me excited because a lot of times people act like being emotionally intelligent, being introspective, being thoughtful, that these are like unsexy things. You can still be fun and ratchet and turn up with your friends. Monique be twerking everywhere we go.
Everywhere. I love it.
Monique be twerking everywhere we go. Serena be practicing her twerks all the time. All my friends be out here getting it, right? But they're still thoughtful and wise. And I think it's kind of important when we do this show to show that you can have fun. You can be sipping on Jamaican rum. Slurp break. Hold on, guys. Should we make slurp noises for the ASMR people?
I don't know how to do that.
I'm slurping the rum.
It's so good.
That's like Hannibal Lecter. It turned to Clarice real quick. I'm not good at this, guy. This is why.
That's why I said, I don't know.
It's not my whatever. Like, I love that people are learning that you can be fun and sexy, but still be introspective. Because it used to be back in the day, the archetype was the deep girl and the pretty girl. And now the pretty girl is deep. And now the deep girl is pretty, right? And one of the conversations that we had recently that really spoke to me was, I've been really open about how when my aunt passed away, it fucked me up. It fucked me up really bad. And how I didn't know she had died, but I was on this plane. I'm in first class, only Black person in first class. Anybody who's ever had a little bit of a coin and been in first class as the only Black person, you know very specifically what that feels like, right? Everybody's like, are you in the right section? And out of nowhere, we're flying above somewhere, Sacramento, something, and all of a sudden I start crying. Sobbing. A week later, I found out that I was crying at the exact moment that my aunt was dying of cancer. Didn't even know she had cancer because she had kept it a secret. When you talked to me, you said that when your grandma passed, you, out of nowhere, you just started crying as well.
Yeah, I was driving home from Sacramento. It's funny you said Sacramento right now because that's where I'm from.
Am I channeling? This is what alcohol does. I'm sorry, guys.
So I was driving home and I knew she was going. I couldn't be there when she passed. And at 5:00, I was driving down the Grapevine and I had like an extreme anxiety attack. And I said she was passing, and that's what time she passed.
I'm not gonna cry because alcohol makes me emotional. Pause. Now the thing about it is, we're saying aunt and grandmother, right? And we think these words mean certain things, but we know that when you have a non-traditional family, your aunt could be your mother. Because my aunt was the one who raised me until I was 7. Because my dad was in Cuba, my mother was in Haiti. Nobody raised me but my aunt. So when I say aunt, I say first mother.
Yeah.
Your grandmother was your mother.
She was my mother. Yep.
When you lose a matriarch to cancer in particular, one of the controversial beliefs that you and I share is that sometimes diseases like cancer come from all the pain that we swallow. Like my aunt put everybody first. My aunt was a mule to the family.
My grandma was too.
And I'm convinced that's what made her sick. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I think the cancer came from literally it ate away at her because she never put herself first.
Right.
What lessons do we learn? Because they say that life is about evolving, right?
Right.
We've watched the 2 women who raised us put themselves last to the point of, we believe, costing them their lives.
Right.
But then you and I, here we are at our big ages, putting ourselves last. So I'm not going to cry. At what point do we end that cycle?
I'm currently ending it now.
Oh, I need a tissue. Can somebody hand me a tissue real quick? You can continue talking while they're gonna hand me a tissue.
I'm currently doing that now. I said that this year is the year that I put myself first.
Yeah.
And even these last couple of days that I'm choosing me, my family's trying to navigate.
Thank you, love.
What it is to be, for me putting myself first, because they're not used to it.
Yeah.
I'm not used to it. I'm still like, I'll just stay home and in bed with you guys and have game night and, which things that I still love to do with them. But this year is the year that I put myself first and I choose me. And so I know once I can choose me and fully love me and fill my cup up, I'm able to have a full enough cup to fill everybody else's up.
You better preach. And what's hilarious is as Monique is sharing this and I'm dabbing my eyes because this makeup cost too much for me to fuck it up. I'm sorry. I look cute. Yes. Okay. It's so funny. I kidnapped you yesterday. Yeah. And we had a fun time.
It was amazing.
We were watching the sunset on the mountain at the bougie restaurant. Then we went to Home Goods because I'm over 30, guys. So Home Goods to me is the after party. Went to Home Goods and spent money on overpriced pillows and such.
We're having all this.
There's some good stuff.
There's some good stuff.
Just when you come to the house later.
Yeah.
And then on the ride home, your daughter calls you to ask you a question. And then in the background, we hear your husband. And then behind him, we hear your son. The entire family. Monique's entire family called her, just be like, "Hey, big head, what you doing?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I've kidnapped this mother from her family," and they're all low-key kind of having separation anxiety. And they asked you a question, and then they didn't have any answers, and you were like, "Nah, I'm hanging with Blue, I'm fine." You hung up, and then 10 minutes later, your daughter called you with a solution of her own. Because you weren't there to always be mom,
she had to figure it out.
She had to figure it out on her own. And I was like, Monique, I just thought I was kidnapping you to do ratchet shit on a Saturday night.
Ratchet shit, aka home goods.
Look, okay, getting drunk and going to Home Goods is as ratchet as it gets for me these days, okay? I thought we were just having shenanigans, but in a weird way, we're also teaching your daughter and your son and your husband how to give you room to breathe.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that your good friends do. Like, no, Monique, you deserve a couple of hours. And it was 4 hours.
Yeah.
We weren't even gone that long. I'm going to have you longer tonight because we're about to get drunk. But anyways, the question I wanted to say is we talked about how our mothers spoiled us, whether it's our matriarch of a grandmother and auntie. They think if you spoil your child will grow up feeling like they have everything. And what I believe is if you spoil your child, you're teaching them how to put everybody last because they're not going to mimic how you made them feel. They're going to mimic how you act. My mother put everybody first, including me. Now I put everybody first. I'm just becoming her.
Yeah.
So what does selfish look like for you in a healthy way as a mother in particular?
I'm literally becoming my grandma. I just wanted to say this. We went on vacation, and as soon as I get there, I have to unload my suitcase into the drawers. Don't ask me why. It's what my grandma did. I'm literally becoming her.
Oh, girl, I bring Tupperware to the party and put my Tupperware first before I eat.
Yeah. So, she definitely. Sorry, it just made me think about that. But what am I doing?
Oh, are you doing? Ooh.
Am
You might need to do some work, friend.
Yeah, I think I do.
Are you the kind of person who can say no?
To who?
To anybody.
That's the thing. To who?
Oh, explain.
Yeah, like I feel like it's harder for me to say no to the people that I love than the people that I don't know, or like who barely need something out of me. Or, like my family, it's harder for me to be like no. Mm-hmm. And friends or people who aren't as close, it's easier for me to say no.
Huh. I think we're gonna have to sit with that when you come back on the show. We're gonna talk about that because I feel like you're saying that when the stakes are higher, it's harder for you.
Yeah, my grandma never said no, right? Like she would say yes and talk shit though.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that she was very passive. I love it.
Is your grandmother Latina by any chance?
No,
oh, okay.
She was not. I don't know. She would say yes, and then 20 minutes later, well, you remember I did that for. I'm like,
that's
girl.
manipulative. Yeah.
So I don't do that, but I'm learning how to say
Shonda Rhimes had a, and we're going to talk about her at some point when I have enough money to have that conversation. But Shonda Rhimes had a book called The Year of Yes. I think we need to do a year of no. What do you think, studio audience? A year of no. Can we get a clap for a year of no? Like, nah, we were saying no. Because I feel like we say yes by default.
Yes.
And one of the things I have learned professionally speaking, because there's a weird thing being a coach, but also being a person.
Right.
Because there's professional me who says all these amazing things with my clients. And then I go out and start dating fuckboys and getting digmatized and acting like I ain't got no sense. So professional me is not going to talk because regular Blue does not listen to this. But professional me knows that when you are scared to say no, it's because deep down you're worried that if you are not agreeable, you are not be lovable.
Yes.
And so it's like, I'm going to say yes so you can like me because I need to make sure that you still like me.
Yes.
And if I say no and you don't like me, then I won't think that I'm worthy. 100%. So it's not you being a nice person, it's you being insecure. There's so much confidence in a reasonable no. Because it means I fuck with you heavy and I love you, but nah.
Yeah.
And regardless of how you respond, I'm still dope as fuck your loss.
Yeah.
That takes practice.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Look at the audience.
Yes.
That takes practice. And I can't tell you how many times I've said no, and it's been a righteous, hearty no. And it made sense cerebrally. And the person responded in the way that was appropriate.
Yeah.
For 2-3 days afterwards, I'm still like, fuck, I said no. Am I sure she still likes me? Am I sure he still wants to be with me? Like, even though I'm doing the right thing, there's like the shadow work that happens where my neurosis is still telling me, no, Blue, she still loves you. It's okay. Right. You said no, and she was annoyed, but she still, like, I still have to talk myself down from feeling like I'm unlovable. And I think a lot of folks are not honest about how when they say, oh, I'm too nice, I'm too loving. I'm going to look into the camera again for those of you watching on YouTube. Hint, hint, start watching us on YouTube. There's no such thing as being too nice or too lovable. There's no such thing as saying your heart is too big. That is a very self-aggrandizing way of giving yourself a backhanded compliment. Saying my heart's too big or I'm too lovable is a nice way of saying that you lack boundaries. You are not God. You just lack boundaries. If you have boundaries, you can be as nice as you want and everything would be Gucci. And so I for me, my word of the year is discipline and discernment. Discipline to do what I need to do even when I'm not inspired. Because I'm smart and lazy, right? Most smart people I know are lazy. Because y'all can study. I can cram for 20 minutes and still get the same grade. Right. That creates laziness. I think sometimes that if my IQ was lower, I'd get further in life. I'd be a harder worker. I'm used to faking it and still doing a good job. So I want to be disciplined, and I also want to have the discernment to know when to share and when to keep shit to myself. Now that I've unpacked, you see how I just did that? I want you to mimic the same. What is your word and why?
My words are discipline, love, and discernment.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. I mean, I feel like love is what discipline and discernment create begins.
Yes, but self-love is like the big one for me this year. Self-love. So those are the 3 words that I have written down in my notebook that Sarita gave me.
Yeah. So tell we real friends, y'all.
But yeah, those are my 3 words. Discipline, not just for how I treat people, but how I treat myself, whether it's food, working out, work, whatever it is, discipline for that. Because again, I think I'm the same way where I can do something and be like, okay, I'm good. Yep. good for the day.
But isn't it crazy how we have discipline for other people or external factors, but not for ourselves? I know I have so many friends who have crazy jobs where they have to wake up at 5 a.m. and do this and do that and X, Y, and Z and take care of everybody. And they do all these superhuman things. But if they are going to go on a diet or save up for a trip or do anything that's just for them, suddenly they have no discipline.
Can't do, yeah.
And a part of me is like, oh, I just dragged myself on my shows. Ooh, that's awkward. I just described myself. No, oops. That just got awkward real quick. Life comes at you fast when the rum is hitting. But no, like, I think we have to recognize that the person that we have to impress the most is ourselves. If you can sleep at night and be okay, then you're fine. Now, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about that I was going to ask Sarita about, but I got too drunk to ask, so I'm going to ask now that I'm sobering up. A lot of times when we are watching TV shows and programming, we see stuff like the Meg Thee Stallion case, where a woman is saying that she was abused, assaulted, disrespected, X, Y, and Z, and everybody's saying cap or attacking her, right? And why I find that so dangerous is we're telling women and people who are women adjacent, because I feel like the reason why gay people get so much hatred is because being gay is seen as being feminine. So I tell my gay male friends all the time, you understand what it's like to deal with misogyny because it's the hatred of anything that's considered feminine that creates a lot of homophobia because men are not seen as men when they're gay. And so as a woman who's in an industry where you are around a bunch of misogynists, let's be real, let's be really honest, right?
Yeah.
A lot of y'all do not like women or anything that reminds you of women, which is basically
That's one of the
trans
reasons,
women, cis women, and gays, pretty much.
That's why I got out the Navy. It was
The misogyny is real.
It was too much.
And the thing about the Meg Thee Stallion case that broke my heart was to see how hard people were working to find a way to justify hating a woman, even though she was the victim. How do you deal with misogyny considering that you are constantly in rooms with powerful misogynists? Sarita, you happy I forgot to ask you that question, huh? She's like, I'm happy.
Sarita?
No, right. No. This is your episode. It's your turn. Hot potato. It's your turn. Because I'm constantly having to realize, ooh, he's a misogynist pig, but I cannot afford to tell him that. Like, how do you deal with that? Because I'm learning to. Because in DC, I could just say, fuck you, you're a misogynist. In LA, I actually can't.
Yeah, I feel like I'm learning to as well. I know in the Navy, I could not, and I got in a lot of trouble all the time because I would, it's always do as I say, not as I do.
Yep.
And it's majority was from men that are in power. Their favorite thing to say was like, do this or do that, and then it'd be like, you want to flip for it, and they would cover their rank, meaning they outranked me, so I would have to do it.
So that's like pulling your dick out.
Yes. I would tell them either go fuck themselves or do it yourself.
Wait.
I got in a lot of trouble.
Honey, yes, you're supposed to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Not the
No, that was the answer. But they wouldn't do it to me again because they know I'm not.
I think you're crazy.
Yeah.
Wait. I didn't think the story was gonna go like that. I was sipping. I thought this was gonna be a sweet story.
I don't have a no.
You think, for those who are wondering why this episode is called pH Balance Goons, pH stands for pure hearted. Goons stands for goons. Monique. I think the more you talk, they're like, yeah, she's an Aries.
Yeah.
It's making sense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I've learned, like, working at a law office too, I've learned how to like be professional with your words in a professional setting. So that taught me, I'm so grateful for that because that taught me a lot.
Per my last email.
Yeah, per my last email. Yeah. So I feel like in this industry, I am learning to be politically correct with people. And that's especially with men.
But how do you politically correct and still set a boundary?
You got any advice?
I do actually, because
you
have to think about it. On Hollywood Unlocked, I was the only woman that anybody could see for miles and miles as far as production, right? Because even though there was a couple of girls who were working in editorial, my co-hosts were men. A lot of people I was dealing with, like, everybody was a man. So simple things like, hey, we're going to be on set and we're going to be, on a jet with Floyd Mayweather. Can somebody get me some makeup? Like, they were like, makeup? Because the men didn't need makeup, right? So I dealt in a space where everything that I asked that was reasonable for a woman was seen as me being difficult because there was no other women around. And what I started doing is I would make a request, and when they would treat me like I was wilding out, I would let them finish and say, I just need to clarify that I'm making a reasonable request. So what is the issue with this reasonable request that I just made? Because the thing is, misogyny makes you feel like you are unreasonable. So now that I've reasserted that I'm being reasonable, please clarify for me why reason is offensive to you.
Right.
Child, at a certain point, they were like, this bitch. Like, but the funny thing is, me and Jason are close now.
Yeah.
Because I think a part of him
respected it.
He respected it.
Yeah.
He was like, Blue is not going to wild out. She's not going to be overly dramatic and make things worse. In fact, when I could get into a fight with somebody and be on set, you would never know it. So I was being professional.
Right.
But if I made a request, it's because it was reasonable, right? So I think for me, the cheat code is, whenever people act like I'm tripping, I remind everybody in the fucking room that I'm making a reasonable request. So what's the real problem here? Are you annoyed that I have the free agency too? That's between you and your God and your therapist.
I will say I feel like that has been the case for fighting for my daughter, even with women as agents. Not the agents we're with now, thank God, but the ones that we were with. I felt like they treated my daughter and everything like she was like a second class model, but she's booking more than a lot of the white models were.
Talk your shit.
So, when she wasn't getting the kind of love and attention that these other models were getting, and my daughter is keeping your lights on, you can at least come with respect when you're asking for things from her.
Wait, but she said, my daughter's the reason you can eat this week. You might want to take the bass out your voice. Monique, if I ever need a manager, I'm going to do it. Be like, girl, you want a manage me? You know what's so funny is, like, we're having this conversation. We've covered so many topics, from interracial dating to misogyny to what haven't we covered? We can basically figure out world peace if we sat on this podcast long enough. But I always want to end it with something nasty. Yes, can we get something nasty? Freaky shit. We always like to end the show with freaky shit. Even the producer's clapping for something nasty. Yeah. So we often talk about how to keep shit sexy, even when you're in a long-term relationship or just when you're somebody who's very ambitious. Do you have anything on your wish list as far as how you want to be more sexually empowered in 2023?
No.
Really?
I feel like, okay, so
have you left your sexual body? Be honest, because a lot of women leave their sexual body.
Yeah, I do. But I will say, wait, hold on. Let me just say this. Like I said, this year is all about myself and finding self-love. And I feel like with that, I've already become this like, I'm about to leave, what you want to do.
Oh,
I've already kind of stepped into like this power of like this sexual being that I might have not been. But I am very sexual, but I stepped away from that for a long time. Are
you an aggressor, or are you more
I'm
submissive?
Not the aggressor. I'm the submissive one. So since this new 2023 me has started, I'm more of the aggressor.
Nice.
And that's kind of like the power that I've...
What do you think is a turn on for you as a woman? Be honest.
Taking control, I guess.
Oh.
That's a turn on for me.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're a sub who wants to take control. That's called a verse, honey.
Yeah. I feel like
there's names for these things.
I take control everywhere else, like whether it's work or for like homeschooling. I'm literally taking care of everything else. So when it comes to that, I like to be for you to take control.
I had a friend one time who, she got on my goddamn nerves, but maybe she was actually more brilliant than I realized. She would always make a big deal about what kind of panties and underwear she would wear. She'd make a big deal about her baths and her lotion routines. And I was like, girl, why is it taking you 2 hours to come out the bathroom? I gotta pee. What I realized was she was loving on herself so sensually that she was already aroused by the time she like left the bathroom and was going on her dates, and that sexual energy carried over to the person that she was with. And so a lot of times in DC, back in my gay days, hair flip, there was a thing called lesbian bed death. Yes, honey. So
what is that?
The gays would like just talk to each other too much and like buy cats and forget to fuck. It was like a thing, right? So lesbian
buy cats and forget to fuck.
No, anybody. I'm not being problematic, maybe a little bit, but like lesbian bed death is a real thing. But I think even straight couples have lesbian bed death where you become roommates and best buddies, but I ain't seen your wobbly bits in 3 months.
No, that happens all. I think
everybody
with
has
marriage, like you go in and out of waves, and you're like, okay, wait a minute, best friend, why are we laying here every night keying until we go to sleep? But sometimes for me, that satisfies me just as much.
So we have to end soon, but I'm gonna say this. I'm a Gemini rising. For those of you who don't know about astrology, because this podcast talks about astrology a lot.
My rising?
A Gemini. Girl, how you gonna ask me what your rising is?
Because we went over it yesterday. I think
it's the Pisces. I think you're right. You're Pisces rising.
Yeah.
Gemini rising means I'm a reliable flight risk, which means I will love you and adorn you, but if we're not fucking, I might leave you. Yeah, very much so. And here's the thing. I've gotten into several relationships where people are like, that's so shallow. I was like, it's not shallow for me to know what I need.
Right.
And so for me, I think I'm recognizing with a lot of my female friends who are in long-term relationships, a lot of them allow themselves not to be sexually affirmed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they feel like, they're like, why am I so emotional? And it sounds so misogynistic. But that old fucked up narrative that some men said back in the day, a broken clock is right twice a day. Ladies, some of you just need to get fucked.
Facts.
Am I allowed to say that on camera? Waste my show. I can say whatever I want. I think a lot of us need to be honest that we have all this tension in our bodies and we go to therapy and we have self-care, hashtag self-care. And, you know, we go shopping with our homegirls and spend money on clothes that from fast fashion places. So you got $1,000 worth of clothes from Fashion Nova. Yay. We do all these things. We go on girl trip to Miami. And the whole time, you just needed to get fucked.
That's how I know. Like when him and I are fighting nonstop and we go to bed laughing and then...
Going?
I'm saying, and then I get to this space where I'm like, what's wrong with me? And I'm like,
y'all be arguing and fucking?
I haven't had dick in a while.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes you just need to get fucked.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. People are going to be like, Blue, you are an emotional intelligence coach. You're an activist.
That could be advice.
That's my advice.
Yeah.
Like, I think we've gotten so smart that we've thrown out all the things that actually do make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Our grandmas weren't wrong about everything. Okay? There's some things that are old school that actually still make sense. And I feel like I'm watching people be so clever that they're avoiding the obvious. So our message we have to wrap up the show, guys, because I know it went by quickly. Our message for this show is be selfish in a healthy way.
Yes.
Put yourself first so that you can take care of those you love.
Yes.
Make sure that you're setting boundaries and not telling yourself that your heart's just too big, because that's cap.
And get dick down every once in a while.
Get fucked, right? In the best way possible. That concludes our show for today. Let me tell you, people are gonna be like, what is going on with you tonight? Y'all told me y'all wanted weekly episodes and blew up my DMs. This is what y'all gonna get, okay? This is how I'm on a weekly basis. I can't sound like Maya Angelou every goddamn time. All right, so guys, thank you for watching the show. As usual, my name is Blue. You can find me at BlueCentric. Monique, where can they find you, love?
Monique Nevels.
Oh, that's really your handle?
That's my Instagram.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's easy to find.
It's super easy.
And also make sure that if you want to get bonus content or anything else that we have coming up, check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/BlueCentric. Monique, you're going to have to come back.
Yes, I love to.
I feel like the next time you come back, I want you and Sarita and maybe somebody else to come back and have like a girls' night.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
We could do it in our PJs.
That'll be fun.
We recently had a pajama party.
Are we going to match? Are we going to match? Can we match?
Can we match?
But like different colors, like the same but different?
Are we Destiny's cousin for real?
Can we?
Okay, we're gonna have matching PJs, y'all, because apparently that's how it's like. I'm used to having male friends, so I'm still getting used to the shit that happens when you have female friends. Okay, the girls want to wear matching PJs. Okay, that's fine. You can be Beyonce, I'll be Latavia. It's okay.
Listen,
all right, guys.
I'll be Michelle.
Thank you for watching the show. And as always, please remember that we're all just human beings doing human shit. Please be kind to yourself. Until next week, bye. Yay!